Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local business talk show with your host, Ryan McNeice. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Now, let's get down to business with Business Talks.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeice, and we're here in the studio with Hector Quiroga of Quiroga Law Office. Thank you for being here. This is going to be an interesting conversation. I was excited to have you on the show because, Hector, I've known you a long time, respected you. The way in which you came to practice law here in Spokane, Washington is a great story, an amazing story. Grew up in Bogota, Colombia, right? Tell me what year and how you made the giant leap to come to Spokane, Washington, in the United States, and to look into getting into the legal industry, into the legal field.
All right, thank you. My family is a family of attorneys. My mom is a lawyer, my dad is a lawyer, my grandpa is an attorney, and they're attorneys in Colombia. And so I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. And this is back in 1999. There's a lot of drug cartels and a lot of like narco-terrorism back in Colombia. And so the idea is I would come in and then study, came on a student visa, study English, and then I would return. But the condition in the country was such, and due to the fact that my family, my dad had certain political ties, my dad was a judge for a period of time, it got pretty dangerous. And so
I was going to say, as a judge in Colombia, don't they take some pretty interesting precautions in terms of the folks in the courtroom don't even actually see the judge, if you will?
Right. So there's a program called Justicia sin Rostro, which is a judge without a face, basically, or justice without a face. And so, yeah, it's a big sort of, you come in and there's like a box, and it's bulletproof, and the voice is scrambled, so the defendants wouldn't know who the judge, what the ruling was, the judge was. But they implemented that for a while, and I don't think they're doing it anymore because judges were being killed anyway. Like the corruption was such that people would know. So yeah, it got very, very difficult, and so I was told, hey, why don't you see? So my parents are divorced, and my mom was in the country, and she said, hey, I'm going to be passing
Your mom
by.
Was already in the
My mom was
United
already in
States?
the United States.
Okay.
She's married to a United States citizen, and at the time, I was 17 years old, and so called my mom and said, "Hey, things are tough back there. I am barely knew any English," and so she said, "Why don't you come up to Spokane, Washington, and meet me for a couple of weeks, and then we'll figure it out." So I flew up. I was in the University of Texas, and so I flew up from Texas and met my mom and then her husband and her husband's family, and they were very welcoming. And they said, "Hey, why don't you just go to the community college and study English
Here in Texas?
Here in Spokane." Yeah, so I flew from Texas and they said, "Hey, why don't you stay and do it here?" And so the community college was a little bit better deal than the University of Texas. So I said, "Let me stay." And I did that, and then through that, I met my wife, Casey, who's also a lawyer, went through Gonzaga undergrad.
Is also your partner in Quiroga Law.
Who is the person who founded the firm, and then we're co-founders, co-owners of the firm. So that's kind of in a nutshell how it happened. I just kind of but I was really trapped. I wanted to be a lawyer, and most Latin American countries, you go to, you graduate high school, you go straight to law school.
To a trade school, essentially.
You go right into law school, right? But it's 5 years of law school. Here we have undergrad, and then we have a grad school, which is the law school. So it was a difficult thing for me to pick up major.
So when you made the decision to go to Gonzaga Law School, what at that point, how many years had you been speaking English and or studying English?
All right, so I went so I came in January of 2000. It's kind of when I came. So it was January 2000. I was in Spokane Community College doing my AA degree in 2002, graduated Gonzaga undergrad in 2004, and then started attending the law school in 2006. So, right, this was about 6 years between the very basic 1, 2, 3, 4 apple, banana type of thing to getting into the law school and do that.
Hector, I'm fascinated with that, because I honestly can't even imagine, having gone through the law school experience myself, and obviously being English speaking, but to think of myself traveling to Bogota, Colombia, and entering law school in Spanish. What a feat. I mean, that's impressive in and of itself. So 3 years of law school, you graduate from law school, you guys are involved in the firm, Quiroga Law. What areas of the law did you originally involve yourself in?
So when we started the firm, when Casey, my wife, started the firm, this was 2009. And so what happened is she was already practicing law for a couple of years. She was ahead of me. And so she's the one who started it, and then I kind of joined her and became her assistant, and kind of worked that way. And so she is really into real estate, bankruptcy, civil litigation, and that's really what she is. I learned a lot from her in law school, but I was a little lost. As you know, you go to law school and then you get out, and then you kind of have just as many options as you did before. You can go into patents, you can go into criminal law, family law. I mean, there's so many areas. It took me a period of time of a good 3 years to 5 years to really figure out I really want to be immigration. I kind of fell in love with my story, what we represent. I said, okay, I want to help people in this situation, and I figured it out. And so it took some time, but the firm did a lot of civil litigation, bankruptcy, did a lot of family, a lot of contracts. We really kept it civil for the most part, and really handled many criminal cases, but that's kind of what it was. And then right about 24 to 36 months ago, we decided that we were going to only do immigration, and so we have closed a lot of cases, have kind of finished all of that, and now we're, I would say, 95% immigration is kind of what
95% for the firm. And so Casey is doing immigration as well, or?
She now has kind of more of the owner role of overseeing trust accounts, make sure that everything, and so she oversees the firm.
Management.
That's right.
And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. As you progressed in the law firm and phased out some of those other areas of civil litigation and focused on the immigration aspect of your practice, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, your passion for your story and coming from Bogota and knowing the needs and emotional state of the folks that you'd be dealing with in the legal practice that are here in the United States dealing with these immigration issues. Do you feel like your ability to empathize and understand their predicament gives you an advantage working with these clients?
I think so. I mean, I think for the longest time, again, when we were doing other areas of law, we were doing very well, but it wasn't until I got that fire, that understanding of somebody's, because I got it. I was on a student visa. I was, I had a work permit. I had a green card. I mean, I went through all of this process myself, and I know how important it was and how I didn't even want to drink a beer because I was worried about being stopped or something like that. Like, I just didn't. So I get it. I get what they go through. I
understand the psychology.
I understand what it is to have a work permit and losing it, right? How it could affect your entire family, right? And I see their fear. I understand what they go through, sometimes thinking, I may get home tonight and my husband may no longer be here, right? And this is a citizen wife, right? So
with children,
with
sometimes.
children, right? Yeah. Exactly. Most of the time we have a family, but yeah. So I feel like I get it. I am able to speak to them, and they speak back, and we're in the same language. We get it.
So how I know you expanded the practice to the Tri-Cities, I believe, and by doing so, do you feel like more of your immigration type clients are coming from the Tri-Cities area, or are they coming from Spokane? How are you seeing the workflow of your clients come to you?
So that's very interesting, because I think the paradigm or the has been that there is no real immigration or diversity in Spokane, Washington, and I just found that to be wrong. And I happen to tap into a market that exists, and most lawyers are not interested in it. So I am.
But you found your passion.
I found this, and so we have the office in here, right? And So yes, we did expand to the Tri-Cities. So we have another office. Just for reference, it's about 25 employees at this point. We have 5
Total.
lawyers working total on the firm. So what happens is we start realizing that there were a lot of people driving from the Tri-Cities to talk to us. And that kind of prompted our idea to say, okay, maybe we can go to them because they are over there. But then I did a big demographic sort of analysis within the firm, and what we found out is that you either have Seattle or you have Boise. There is nothing really in the middle. And so without knowing, dumb luck if you want to call it, we kind of got in the center. And so there's a lot of the Okanagan County.
I know you well enough it wasn't dumb luck. You've done your research.
We've done the research, but I've been blessed. I gotta say, I've been blessed. I actually found Spokane very welcoming through the community college all the way through Gonzaga Law. Extremely welcoming.
I'm glad
people want to
that.
help, and I think that's it. I think sometimes I hear comments that Spokane may be a very Republican type of not
more conservative.
a more conservative area, and I don't, as opposed to King County on that side of the state. What I found I found a very welcoming place. I really found a very welcoming place, and that's great. And so that's what is happening. It's just they come from different places, and the thing is, if you're good, you're passionate, you love what you do, people will find you. People will reach you out.
Hector, let's take a short little break and come right back. But when we do come back, I want to talk about, as you were just saying, if you're providing a service with passion, as I know you have been with your firm, both in the Tri-Cities and Spokane, people are finding you. And I want to talk more about that and how they have found you. So let's come right back after a short break here on Business Talks. Thank you.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Welcome back to Business Talks. We're here with Hector Quiroga of Quiroga Law Office, and we're talking about immigration. And Hector, right before we left for the break, we're talking about how your firm created in Spokane, Washington, but you saw a need and saw that putting an office in the Tri-Cities might really fill the need, and proximity-wise, geographically, be closer to a lot of your customers. How were you, before you expanded the Tri-Cities, how were your clients finding you and knowing, how did they find out and know that you had a passion for immigration law? They were seeking you out. How did they know that?
We're very heavy on social media. So we kind of took social media and we did a lot of marketing to just web development, websites is being kind of our thing. And I think when the word gets out, then people start referring you. So clients refer our clients, and how it works. And we have, we've been at this a good decade, right? It's been about almost 10 years since the office has been operating, but exclusively in immigration, like I said, it's been about 36 months. And so the need, the referring, and I think that's it. Social has been very big.
And one satisfied client is telling another individual, and exponentially that's
it
where
goes
you
both
grow.
ways.
Right.
It goes both ways. Yeah.
What have you found? When you meet with this many clients and engage with this many clients and understand their needs and challenges, tell us more about that. I mean, there's an emotional toil even on your part as the attorney of working through these processes with the client, bringing them through this challenging process. Tell us a little bit about that.
The process is somewhat, it's scary at all moments. And so there's a lot of it is I think it starts with understanding the fear and the real motivation behind what clients do. See, when clients in any area of practice come to us, they don't come to us with legal problems. They just come up with a problem, and we are the ones who make it legal, right? We try to figure out what it is, and so
whether it is legal or not.
Whether it's legal or not, and sometimes what I do is I teach at Gonzaga now, and I tell my students, third-year law students, it's not. We made a mistake sometimes of going into deposition mode and just analyzing facts, when in fact the first consultation really needs to be about fears. What is it that they want? And if it's something that I think I can fix, or I can get them closer to a fix, then we say to them, okay, here's what we can do for you, understanding where they're coming from. And if we find that their motivations are not proper, right, then it's when there's maybe a client that we don't take the case.
That's a good point, Hector, that maybe the goal, their motivation isn't aligned with the goal.
That's right.
But you make a great point that not all issues that come in front of you or in the legal industry are a legal problem. What's the phrase that if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail?
That's right.
Well, I think that comes up a lot in the legal practice because people want to either sue or move forward in an aggressive manner, but rather there are plenty of times there are multiple options of getting a victory, if you will.
That's right.
And what that victory means.
Right. And the client who wants to sue, what do they want to sue? Are they seeking justice, or are they merely suing out of principle, or are they or mainly they just want to punish and drag the other person through the mud, if you will? Those are completely different cases. Same set of facts, same set of cause of action, yet we may not take the last case because it's just not in line with what we do. So I think that's a lot of it, is just understanding the client, finding them where they truly are, and can we help them to the process. And that may not necessarily mean getting a green card. It could be getting a work permit. It could be getting a driver license. It could be having them exit on a plane the proper way, right? There's just many other ways that we can do it. But if I don't understand the goal and the motivation, that's...
What do you think, from your perspective and the research you've done in terms of surveying the different areas of our state and the different clients that you're working with, has this current political environment brought somewhat of a fervor of people coming to you, or not so much?
Right. Definitely. I mean, I think it'll be undeniable. And sometimes I have a stress over this. It's like we've seen so much growth in our firm. Is it because we're doing well, or is it because of the current administration? And I think we answered the question. We looked at it and said, we were growing far before at about the same rate. But what the administration or the current political climate has done is really has made people look into their situation and say, maybe I really do need to do something now.
Right.
And we have experience when the president and the White House came out and said there are no priorities anymore for deportation. We're deporting everybody.
Right.
That month we saw a spike on phone calls. We were handling over 100 phone calls a day in the firm. So
100 calls a day.
Yeah, we had like 5 people answering phone calls. So any time that we see this happening, our firm gets a big input of so it's helped, no question, as far as the growth of the firm, but it's also created a lot of work for us to try to appease the community.
To try to administrate that.
That's right.
And fulfill everyone's needs, because again, Hector, I know you well enough. You have a big heart. You're passionate about what you do, or you wouldn't be doing this. But I'd imagine there's a little bit of a challenge on your part, on your firm's part, that you'd like to help everyone. And if you're getting 100 calls a day, you probably struggle with, from a timing standpoint, trying to help everyone.
Right. Just getting the staffing to be able to screen the calls. So who has a possible solution, who doesn't, and trying to get that. It was challenging, and it was, and so But we try to do the best we can, and the way that we do it a lot is kind of like this. We go out and talk. We have social media presence. We try to distribute as much information as we can that our demographic and the people who follow us know they can rely on, because there is a lot of miscommunication, a lot of fear, a lot of misinformation online and everywhere, fake news all the time. So we're trying to be that sound voice of, no, this is what you do need.
Well, in a sense, I think you're describing, take facts, if you will, that someone would find on Google or otherwise, and then you're in a position of interpreting those facts and saying, is this really something to be fearful of or not? And here's a potential solution. Where do you see the firm in 5 years? You've had substantial growth in the last 5.
That's right.
Where do you see the firm going in the next 5 years?
We have a pretty aggressive plan. Our business plan definitely calls for to couple other locations. We are working as we speak to open a location in Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
And we have some presence over there. We got already an associate down there working on that, and so that should be closing in anytime in August 2018. And then we're scoping out places like Minneapolis and a couple other places. So
now, Las Vegas, as your research, surveying, et cetera, indicated that Las Vegas would be somewhat of a hub for immigration type work?
It's a very tourist place.
Okay.
It's got a detention facility in Las Vegas. So lots of people get in trouble in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's not difficult to come to that conclusion. However, there's a big service industry in Las Vegas. There is so it doesn't take far to identify that Las Vegas will be a place where we want to be at.
What about, on that same note, Minneapolis?
Same thing. Minneapolis is pretty not quite
that
the same
one doesn't
level.
seem quite as obvious.
But St. Paul's, all of the places we're looking at is very diverse. So there's a lot of very interesting groups, and it's not quite it's not Latin or Hispanic, but it's very diverse as well. So again, we want to try that, but that's more in line for we're looking at 2019, 2020 for Minneapolis, and we want to see how we can do with Vegas. So
Well, Hector, you're a passionate individual. I know that, and you love what you do. What does a normal day or an average day look like for you?
Well, I'm busy. Tell you that, or schedule is pretty packed. I'm typically either managing the firm, or I am talking with clients,
On the
prospective
phone,
clients,
or
and
on the
so,
phone, or in
yeah,
person.
Usually I have a person meeting, and I'm going through this, but I have a good 7 or 8 meetings a day with prospective clients, trying to figure out if we can help them, and usually they talk to me, but as we grow, they're going to have to talk to other parts of the firm, prospective clients, so I can move more into the management and the marketing of the firm.
A little more delegation. You'd indicated roughly 25 total staff, or staff and attorneys. How many attorneys are in Spokane?
We have 3 attorneys in Spokane.
And how many in Tri-Cities then?
The Tri-Cities, the attorneys are here, and so I go to the Tri-Cities couple, which you have staff over there, paralegals and legal
Okay, so
assistants.
you're traveling back and forth to
That's right.
Tri-Cities. Okay.
I'll go over there and meet with them, and so we do meet potential clients over there. We're experimenting a lot with video conferencing, so we have sometimes clients who go to the Tri-Cities office, and we have a conference back to the Spokane office, and so we're testing lots of different things.
Well, technology has certainly flattened the industry to the extent that you can be in multiple locations, and a lot of ability to transition and practice in that regard. Because you are so passionate about what you do and you're solving other folks' challenges, what do you do? What do you guys do as a family to relax, if you will, or get through this type of schedule?
So we camp, a camper, trader. We do that, and I coach soccer for my son Enrique. So I do that. I just started practice again yesterday, and so we do that. So we do that. We get out. We travel as a family. It's gotten a little bit better. I gotta say, when it was me and her, It was 90 hours a week easy. It
When
was
you
insane.
and Casey, is
Yeah,
that what you said? Okay.
yeah. It was just we were putting so much time on it. It just felt like we were always doing it. Now that there's a little bit of associates and staff and people, and we've been able to dial it back a little bit. So actually, it's a little bit more relaxed now than it was before, and that's
And
cool.
I think that's an interesting
Yeah.
concept, Hector, that although the organization looks bigger and probably overall
Right.
more clients, if you
Right.
will, more transactions, but because you've managed properly, delegated
Yeah.
properly, potentially not as stressful as it was.
Yeah, and
before.
the niching, the finding that one thing we were going to do, we were able to focus and become very good at that. Before, when we had all these areas of practice, we were learning family law, bankruptcy law, real estate law. There was a lot of this. Now that we do one thing, the training, everything through the staff,
A bit simplified.
is so much. It's just so much simpler than it used to be. That even that across the firm, even the staff seems more in tune in what we're doing instead of.
And yet
benefit.
risky.
Yeah.
It was not without risk. I'd imagine when you decided to make
Yeah.
that transition and say, we're just going to move forward with immigration, that had to be a little risky.
It was fearful, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I can tell you how many times, as a solo practitioners, you don't know what you're going to do, and then a probate waxing, right? And you're like, wow, we made it. It was very hard to say. I think there was a point, I think it was April of that year, when we said, we're actually refunding the money. We're calling the clients back and telling them. So we almost gave almost $20,000 on refund, said, we can't handle your case.
That's actually
Go
saying
find.
something.
We were buying a freedom, and I didn't know how that was going to look like. It
Well,
was not like but we did it. And,
Certainly a commitment to what
Yeah.
you had researched, planned accordingly.
Right.
Hector, where can folks find you? There's going to be plenty of
Yeah.
individuals out there that say, I need those services too. I'm dealing with these similar immigration challenges in my life. How can they find you?
We are in SpokaneImmigration.com. We're also on KirogaLawOffice.com, or online, Facebook, Instagram, Abogado Quiroga for the Spanish folks, or Quiroga Law for the English speakers. So, yeah.
So a lot of different avenues to find
Right.
you. Hector, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
That's
Thank you, Ryan McNeice, Business Talk. See you next time. Thank you.
That's right.
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.